Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about journalists rage quitting X. They're leaving X for the Bluesky.
Well, it was funny because they're talking about 300,000 plus journalists in the European Federation of Journalists. And I saw this earlier today. Lorena Criolla posted it. And I saw it, and my first thought was, what? They're leaving X so they can go to Bluesky where they can just say their opinions or as news? Because, people aren't buying it anymore. They've been for years, spouting opinions and saying it's fact. And over there, it's a massive, super far left echo chamber. There's echo chambers, and then there's Bluesky. It's like really ridiculous over there.
It's like Tumblr all over again.
They really can't take being criticized, so their answer is to go to Bluesky. I was joking, and here that is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
This writes itself, honestly, guys.
It's beyond parody, and they're trying to claw back Twitter from 2017 when they ruled the roost. And
I think Bluesky's even more removed than Twitter 2017. It's just echo chamber. If the echo chamber, it was like the boss echo chamber. That's what that is. Final boss. The
final boss. So we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about how X is basically replaced, or at least social media is replacing mainstream media, and they're furious. They're not real happy about the fact that you have a voice now, that we have a voice now, that you're listening to podcasters and YouTubers and people on Substack, and you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we don't need these mega billion-dollar, million-dollar corporations with their talking heads and their ridiculous production values preaching to a dwindling audience. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to clownfishminus.com. We still have a couple of these signed pins yet, and all the Steves are gone. But we got some other merch here. Guys, if you want to help grow the reef, you get exclusive content, and you can also get that content on clownfishtv.locals.com. That includes some videos and podcasts that you won't get over here.
Mm-hmm.
So, apparently the European Federation of Journalists, representing 300,000 journalists. Who needs 300,000 journalists? 300,000 journalists have just announced they're leaving X, and they're no longer going to be posting over here. And this person said, I didn't even know they existed or they were posts.
I don't really pay attention, honestly, but yeah. Over here, people are like, and?
Yeah. And what? And what? So we got some comments, some reactions to this, and I saw there were some angry journos. They're like, it's just a hate-filled platform. They won't. Sweet. The whole concept of news has been used as propaganda.
Here's what I don't understand. So they're going to go to Bluesky because Bluesky is their flavor they want, which tells me that we basically don't want to change. We don't want to report. We don't want to be unbiased and report because, we just want to go over there and just do more of the same, which is not surprising given where they're located and stuff. But I'm just saying, it's like Twitter, you get pushback and people expect you to report fairly or whatever, I guess, and they don't want to do that. So they're going to Bluesky. That's the only thing I can think of. It doesn't make any sense other than Bluesky is very far left and they want to go over there because then people will kiss their ass because you'll be telling them what they want to hear.
Yep. So here's their official
boo-hoo.
Exodus. As of the 20th of January 2025, we've decided to stop. Okay, so like another month yet. We have decided to stop publishing content on Musk's platform X. We can no longer ethically participate in a social network that its owner has transformed into a machine of disinformation and propaganda.
Oh, hell no. Okay.
What the hell?
I'm not a big fan of Elon Musk. I'm sorry, but I'm not. But that being said, when they owned Twitter, when they were the ones running Twitter before he bought it, it was misinformation and bullshit too. They're basically mad. I can translate this. The translation is, we're mad that we don't control the narrative, so we want to go to Bluesky where we're controlling the narrative.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
the translation because misinformation didn't exist. Do you want to talk about the COVID misinformation that was rampant from the media on Twitter and stuff? You want to talk about that?
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. That was you guys too, right?
I remember a time when the Democrats were not going to take the vaccine because it got greenlit on Trump's watch, and they were calling it the Trump vaccine, and they didn't trust it. There might be side effects, and then look what happened.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, the misinformation that was on Twitter. You mean like, the Russian collusion, Hunter Biden's laptop, all that crap, misinformation?
Misinformation.
You want to talk about what misinformation is and what isn't? Because I really love how misinformation is one thing for some people and something for another. I just want to know what the facts are and just across the board. And that's supposed to be reporting's job, is to give people the facts. But they don't trust you now because you clearly don't give people the facts. You give people your opinion. We don't say we're a media outlet because, not at least for this. We give you news and opinions because we know it's our opinion. I mean, read other people's news, about it and talk about it.
At least we're honest.
Yeah, we're honest about it.
Commentators.
We usually end up being right, but
we're a commentary channel. Now that being said, we actually do have journalism credit. We own blogs, and I've worked at newspapers for years.
And those we try to do more like a newsworthy something. We try to be more, fair and less biased or whatever. But we just tell you the truth. Like, we see something, we see it's bullcrap, and we'll say, well, hey, you know what? From our point of view, and what we've done this a long time.
From our point of view,
here's what we're seeing. And a lot of times we're correct. But I'm just saying, this arrogance that, we have to leave Twitter because now that Musk owns it, it's full of misinformation. I'm like, bitch, it was full of misinformation before Musk bought it.
So let's read this. They said, like many European media outlets, The Guardian, I can't even pronounce these. Dagens Nyheter.
Whatever. These other ones.
Vanguardia, Oost, France, Sudoost, and journalists. See, I'm not very good at that. I'm American. I don't speak no European.
ZU people.
Anyway, they said that they can no longer ethically participate in a social network that's owner has transformed it into a machine of disinformation and propaganda. In the aftermath of the American elections, the EFJ noted the threat to democracy and freedom of expression posed by the collusion between the president.
Wait. Isn't it over in Europe that, certain countries that you're not allowed to, like, if you misgender somebody, you go to prison?
Yes.
If you are doing something on social media they don't like, they can put you in jail. But no, you don't want to ethical. You don't want to overreach, guys, unless they're the ones overreaching.
It's a threat to democracy. Remember that clip of those talking heads at those local media outlets all saying the same thing? It's a threat to democracy. It's a threat to democracy. And they're all saying the same thing. I said the president, Donald J. Trump, and the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, who is also the owner of X, and who has been picked to lead a new Department of Government Efficiency when Trump takes charge as president on January 20th. Just after Trump's election, Musk, who has been active in American politics as a vocal and financial supporter of Trump, said that legacy media is dead.
Well, it is.
Claiming that most legacy media lied relentlessly to the public.
They did, and that's what they were surprised.
Yeah, I think the pandemic was actually the last stand. I think that people saw through the bullshit and the misinformation coming from mainstream media. And when it was, some of the stuff was, some of these quote unquote conspiracy theories were proven to be true, people were like, wait a second, well, if they lied about that, what else did they lie about? Because I remember you weren't even allowed to speculate that.
No, you were allowed to.
That thing came from that lab in that country.
Yeah, I know, right? I love this. It gets better. We cannot continue to participate in feeding the social network of a man who proclaims the death of media and therefore the journalists. I'm like, counterpoint. Counterpoint. Maybe if you just did your job and actually reported news and not your opinion is news, you wouldn't be in this position. Just saying.
Yeah, well,
maybe you actually act like a journalist.
That is where I want to go with this, because you did this to yourselves. You made yourselves irrelevant. And then somebody else came in and ate your lunch. And the fact that some chud in a MAGA hat working out of their basement with their American flag and the guns in the background, whatever, can actually get more views than your mainstream media outlets, despite the fact that you've been censored by Google and censored by YouTube and censored by pretty much all the mainstream platforms. Despite this, these people still get more views and get more respect than you do with your multi-million-dollar studios and your advertising and your marketing and your PR machine, all that. That just shows you that you lost. I mean, you lost years ago, and somebody else
not just
picked up the slack.
People trust.
They don't trust you.
No, people trust these people.
Yeah, they would rather listen to some rando in his basement
because they've been more accurate.
Yes,
it's all just based on we're just trusting them because they vote the way we do. We're talking about the fact that these people are listening to other people because they're more fair and accurate in their reporting than you are, and that's why
that should not be the case. You know what I'm saying? Like, journalism lost its way decades ago.
And this is coming from somebody who was an editor at multiple publications.
Yeah, and I've seen it because I don't think I would last very long in that ecosystem, that echo chamber now compared to where it was in the 90s and the 2000s when I was doing it, because everything has changed. It used to be that we were in pursuit of the truth, and now the truth is whatever we're trying to talk people into, and we need to filter the truth. We need to present to the public what the accepted truth in our little echo chamber is.
I think propaganda's been around for years, and I think whoever has the money and owns the media owns the narrative. And I think that's not a new thing, to be fair.
No, it's not.
But we didn't have the voices, didn't have a fair, people that were like us didn't have a fair chance before. Now people can compete head to head with these places because they have they have opportunity now to get their news out. Not saying version of news, but that could be the truth.
Their truth.
You know what I'm saying? They have a chance to get on the screen and talk to people and, say, no, I'm hearing this. But when I did my research and I did my reporting, this is what I'm finding. And they have that option now where you just have to accept what the media told you. And that was like what you were told to believe because that's what they said. Now people are on the ground in these locations. They're all over the place. They all have access to the internet, so you can see firsthand what's really going on. And they don't like that.
So here's another. So they're all attacking X right now, and the reason they're attacking X is the same reason
they're all mad because
they lost. They
lost. Yes, yeah. They controlled it. They don't control it now. They blame that for why they lost the election because they think they won the election last time because of Twitter. And I would argue they're probably correct. And then now they're mad, so they're trying to turn against it and get everybody to go where they can control you again. It's control.
The same thing happened with the pop culture media attacking YouTubers. They attacked YouTubers.
Or anybody who didn't like a show or movie.
Right. And it's because they were losing control. It wasn't that they actually even disagreed necessarily with those YouTubers, but they were losing control. They were losing eyeballs to YouTubers. So the YouTubers became the big bad, the boogeyman. And that's happening now with X. Now that X is basically becoming a news app. Before it was just kind of like a social media. Now it's actually become a news app. And a lot of people go to X first for news because they get it quickly. They get it unfiltered. And they get a whole bunch of different voices, talking about what's actually going on. There are stories that broke on X a week or two before the mainstream media even touched it. And by the time it got to the mainstream media, they would sanitize it, clean it up for presentation to the public. Like, yeah, you might have seen this, trending all over
or that video.
X, but yeah.
But don't believe your lying eyes. That's not what happened.
Don't believe your lying eyes. This is not what happened. So this is how Twitter turning to X changed journalism. Reporters and editors discuss the information cesspool the site has become under the stewardship of one Elon Musk.
Unlike before Elon Musk bought it, where, the media was just so honest and upfront and told you all the truth all the time.
Yeah.
God, this is so ridiculous.
So they're talking about how important. This is what I told people when this happened, when he bought Twitter. I said, you don't understand. You do not understand how important Twitter was to the media, to the studios, to the machine. Even though it wasn't an app that grandma used, it had an inordinate amount of influence. This is where they would all coordinate cancel culture, campaigns against people. And everybody would kind of collude and get their stories in sync. And, and they were doing this like on Discords, and then they would just publicly they'd all retweet each other until you believe it. Because, oh my God, there's like 50 different media outlets. Granted, 25 of them are owned by the same corporation, but they're all saying the same thing. This must be the truth, right? Everybody's saying it. And they basically gaslight people into thinking that just because a lot of media outlets were saying the same thing, that this was true. And it wasn't, and people started to see through it. But yeah, this person here, this is a writer of the mental health newsletter and used to work for New York Magazine and The Nation. I feel like Twitter back in the day was kind of everything for journalists and writers. It was like a job board, a place of idea generation, a little diary. It was kind of this social map/org chart for understanding how, especially in New York, media works and who's doing what and who's friends with who. I can't imagine starting out in the media without that. It was a free orientation tool for the industry. Yes. See also comics, see also animation, see also the video game industry. Again, it wasn't how many people were using Twitter. It was who was using it.
And how you could use it to use that.
And how, pretty much. And it basically was, more, again, normal people didn't use it back then. More normal people are using it now, but it was controlled, and you were not allowed to speak out against the narrative. Yeah, when we were rebooting Gawker,
Oh
this
God.
person said.
This is a different person.
I discovered people through their tweets, even if I just thought they were funny. Yeah, this is Leah Finnegan.
Yeah.
Yes, Leah Finnegan from Gawker, which didn't last very long, by the way. Here's somebody from Slate. You know, I used to find writers and stuff. X, the Musk version of Twitter, is less of a discovery tool. For the most part, it's not a great source for editors when it comes to finding substantive ideas. They said that they're just here to observe. Instead, she relies on Slate's internal staff of writers and external. Oh my God! Now it's gonna be Bluesky.
Okay, wait. I just rely on our internal staff of writers and their Slack and what they're telling me we all in lockstep have to write about.
They're like, yeah, it's if we're all reading each other's stuff on Substack and recirculating those links, does that just form a weird echo chamber where there just happens to be more paywalls? Substack, remember Substack too? That was the Nazi platform. Why are they even using Substack?
Because
that was for Nazis.
it's not as bad now as X.
Said finding a replacement might not even matter because everybody's talking about going to Bluesky. Not to be dramatic, but I think social media is dead. This is Moskowitz, who's writing a book about
drugs.
Drugs.
This analogy to friends about Twitter and X. Ready?
Okay.
If you're in a meth house and everyone's arguing over taking apart the toaster oven, and then you stop doing meth and you drive by that meth house and you're like, why does everyone care about that toaster oven? What the hell kind of analogy is that?
Exactly.
Once you're on the outside, you're like, what is everyone talking about?
I think they're admitting.
Oh my God.
I think they're admitting that Bluesky is not going to be a replacement for Twitter. So now they're just like, well, fine. Fine. You're all a bunch of meth heads. I don't want it anymore.
Even that analogy. Everyone is taking apart the toaster oven and they're doing meth. And then you stop doing meth and you can't figure out why you're taking. That's your analogy?
That's the analogy.
That's your analogy. They're writing a book about drugs and this offers this analogy. I don't get your analogy. That's a stupid analogy. I mean, what's that even mean? Like, why do you want the toaster oven and then you don't even care? I'm like, were you in a meth house and they were fighting over a toaster oven? I'm trying to figure out where you even got this from. Is that something that happens normally?
Hunter S. Thompson, gonzo journalism, is that what we're talking about here? But yeah, celebrities leaving X, going to Bluesky, finding out Bluesky is not exactly the place they were hoping for. Rob Reiner apparently has left X completely, but he's also not posting much on Bluesky, and I think they're gonna find out that like you're never gonna be able to go back to that. And that's probably a good thing because, again, they're telling you they liked it when they used it as their own personal sounding board and it was controlled by the New York media and the LA media. And now that everybody can use it, well, it's just not special anymore. Now everybody has a blue check. It's just not special anymore. I'm not special. So I'm going to hold my breath and turn blue and go to Bluesky. That's what I'm going to do. So we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.